To unplug or not to unplug? That is the question. Narrated digital presentation by Jacqueline Terebetski for Grand Canyon University, course TEC-520, due September 27, 2017. This is a three-part question and answer segment, starting off with question 1. How has technology changed society and education over the last 20 years? We're going to recap the last 20 years by going through a digital timeline. The timeline starts at 1990, which is a little bit prior to 20 years ago. I think it's important to start there because that's when computers really started to surface for personal use. People began to use computers in their home and not just in business. Computers surfaced in the classroom as well. Teachers had access to computers and could create digital type assignments like they could not do before the computer. Following the computer age in 1995 was the digital age. It was known as the digital age because this is when the internet became predominant. People were now able to connect on the internet and have access to more resources that they never had access to before. People relied on each other, things like encyclopedias and dictionaries for all their information. With the internet, people were able to search and find things that they would never have been able to see before. This allowed people to think outside the box. Along with the internet came email. Email was a tool that allowed people to engage with one another a lot quicker. They were able to send and share ideas faster than ever before. I believe that the digital age was a stepping stone for not only technology and society, but also in the classroom. 2000 was known as the interactive age, but it really began in 1999 with the release of the smartboard. Smartboards were created to be put in classrooms so that students could now interact with lessons. According to Dr. Melron, who studies interpersonal communication, states that students are more likely to remember when they actually do. Students will only retain 20% of the information that they see, 40% of the information that they hear, but 70% of the information that they actually do. So having smartboards and interactive lessons allows students to remember and retain more information because they are actually doing, not just seeing and hearing. 2007 started the tablet age. It was known as the tablet age because people started to have handheld devices right at their fingertips. I believe this is when instant gratification really started for us. As a society, we're so accustomed to having information and resources and technology right at our fingertips that it has become the societal norm. It has also become the norm in the classroom. I think it's very uncommon nowadays to walk into a classroom and not see a teacher or student using some kind of device for education. I think that is the way our society is moving and something that needs to be kept up with. 2013 was known as the apps age. Apps is short for applications. Applications are add-ons to your devices, such as your smartphones and tablets. These add-ons usually come in the form of social media. Social media allows people to connect like never before. Not only can they share their thoughts and feelings, they could also share pictures and resources. The way that the world is moving, it's important that people can stay connected 24/7. Sharing ideas with one another is a way to not only grow as a person in society, but also as an educator. And that leads us to today, the virtual age. It is known as the virtual age because in today's society, it is the norm to not just believe things that you hear. You need to see them for yourself. As an educator, it's important that we bring this element into our classroom. We should be able to show our students places that we're talking about. Using apps like Google Maps has allowed us to do this. The virtual age gives us the reason to not just believe things, but to see them, to see things for ourselves. And that leads us into question number 2. How to use technology as a tool and not a distraction in class. Using technology as a tool allows teachers to have new options for teaching. It allows them to bring their lessons to the next level. It also allows for differentiation, meaning that you can reach students in different ways because you have a lot more resources to use. It can also provide up-to-date life skills. Using technology is now considered a life skill and something that our students are going to need to do beyond our classroom. Teachers can also avoid budget issues and have access to new age information through the use of technology. No longer do you have to use old, outdated books when you have so many resources right at your fingertips. You can also keep your students interested and engaged because this is their lifestyle. This is what they like and this is what they're comfortable with. And it also allows for collaboration and self-discovery. Students are now able to work with each other like never before, and they're able to explore the internet and find answers to the questions that they have. But yes, technology can be seen as a distraction as well if not utilized correctly. Things like students having too much screen time and losing interpersonal skills is a large problem that is seen with the immersion of technology, especially in the form of handheld devices. Cyberbullying and inappropriate content is always more at risk when you are using such devices. And old-fashioned problem-solving skills are not being practiced, and those type of skills are going to be needed no matter how much technology changes the world. It is important to make it known that technology is going to be used as a tool in your classroom and not a distraction. Following the next couple of guidelines can help you do that. 1. Outline expectations and procedures in your classroom. 2. Enforce these expectations and procedures. As you could see, I provided a copy of my classroom contract for your viewing. I let my students know that technology in my classroom is going to be a privilege and not a right, and something that they need to earn and respect. 3. Create an incentive for not using devices in class. As you could see, I provided a picture of the cell blocks that I use in class. They simply are a shoe organizer that have been labeled by row and seat number so the students know exactly where to put their cell phones every day. By putting their phones in here, they understand that they are not going to use them unless the lesson is directing them to. So I give them extra credit points every time they put their phone in there, giving them more of an incentive to participate in this way. 4. Ensure students understand and have executed your expectations prior to incorporating technology into any type of lesson. It is important that your students understand your procedures and respect them before you allow devices to be intertwined into your lessons. And 5. Allow for access to devices only when they are needed. Whatever way you decide to have students keep their devices away, just make sure that you stick to it. And the golden rule as an educator: be confident. Make your students know that you're confident with technology and are there to teach them. Practice before the lesson as well. You want to make sure that you know all the ins and outs before you try to show other people. And always have a backup plan. Technology can be very fickle, and it's important that you always have another option in case something isn't working the way it's supposed to. And the last question, number 3, is incorporating technology right for me? And where do I start? I have provided some questions for you that should help you decide whether you should use technology in your classroom or not. I truly believe that every educator should be using technology in their class. And if you find yourself more on the no side of these questions, they're very easy fixes to help you get on the yes. So do you feel confident and willing to learn? If you don't right now, it's something that you need to do. Because as an educator, we need to always remember that learning is a never-ending process and something that we should always be developing on. Do you want your students to be 21st century learners? You became an educator to give your students skills that they can use outside of the education world, in the real world, in real life. Giving them skills that involve technology is exactly what they're going to be doing outside of your classroom. Are you aware and in touch with the ISTET standards, which are set forth to help teachers appropriately and properly incorporate technology into their classroom? It's a great resource to get acquainted with, which will definitely boost your confidence when incorporating technology into your lesson. Do you want your students engaged and excited in your class? Of course you do. You want your students to look forward to coming to your class and learning something new. Incorporating technology is a great way to hold their attention. Do you want your students to have up-to-date resources? Yes. As an educator, we want to ensure that we are providing our students with the newest information possible. So having the internet and utilizing it allows our students to have information that is current, up-to-date, and relevant to them. And last, are you willing to set expectations and stick to them? As mentioned in the previous guidelines, using technology in your classroom is going to be a little bit of work because you have to ensure that your students understand the hazards of using technology and the appropriate and proper ways to do it. And now you might be asking, but where do I begin? Start small. Incorporate platforms like Google Classroom, Kahoot, and Quizlet into your lessons. It's a great way to integrate technology and have your students excited and engaged. Ask for help. Do not be afraid to ask people who are already using technology in their classroom for tips and tricks. Chances are, if they're using it, they love it and they'd be willing to help. Observe and collaborate. Ask to watch other teachers who are using technology so you can see how smooth their classrooms run. Create a PLN. Subscribe to newsletters, join social media, and read blogs to get ideas from others. This will help boost your confidence and give you new and exciting ways to incorporate technology to help your students. And never stop learning. Being a teacher is being a forever learner. Move and change with the times for your students. Thank you for your time and I hope you enjoyed.